Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Waypoint. Today we are playing Race Driver Grid, the very first entry in the Grid series from 2007, a game which really does not feel like it comes out as long ago as it did. And yet, as I'm playing it, yes, it's aged, but I've got very positive things to say about it if you'll stick with me. First of all, why are we playing Race Driver Grid, I might hear you ask? Well, first of all, because I like it. I owned Grid, I doubt it was on release, but it was definitely one of my favourite racing games around the early 2010s. And while I've imparted this little bit of trivia before, it is also kind of the birthplace of the Weekly Waypoint in a weird, unofficial way, because many years ago I made a video called Kritigri Talks, where I recorded my gameplay of this game, and I then recorded post-commentary over it. I think it was post-commentary. It might have been live commentary, actually. I haven't seen that video in so long. But then I kind of sat on that idea for anywhere between months and years, I don't remember anymore, and then after that I was like, oh, I should go back and do that again, that was fun. Except I decided to limit myself to death matching for like the first year or two. And while we have revisited this game on the Weekly Waypoint before, as well as some of its sequels, I want to do like a full series retrospective, because for the first time I own every game in the series. And I'll talk more about it a bit later, but I bought Grid Legends on sale. It was like one of my final Steam sale grabs before it ended, and I've been playing through that and really enjoying myself, and it kind of made me look back and go, oh hey, I own Grid 2 and Grid Autosport on Steam, and Grid 2019 I believe is when the self-titled Grid game came out. Should we just call it Grid 4? Can we all agree to call it Grid 4? Nobody calls it Grid 4? Okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I own that one on Xbox, and then I picked up Grid Legends again on Steam. So I own one of them elsewhere, but you know, it is how it is. You can't buy Grid 2019 anymore. And honestly, that is partially what led to me getting Grid Legends, because as talked about in last week's episode, I got rid of Xbox Game Pass, and so I went searching for a alternative to Forza Motorsport for my Simcade needs. By the way, this part of the gameplay is a bit of a mess because I could not remember how to rewind time in this game, and I still don't know how. Spoilers, I don't figure it out. I managed to... There's a button prompt on the bottom right there, I didn't see that. Okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I kind of thought, oh, I should do a Grid series retrospective, so for the next 5 weeks, including this week, we will be checking out every game in the series, which will be interesting because despite owning Grid 2 on Steam, I've never played it. But yeah, I'm very fond of the Grid series. I don't think it's necessarily as... you know, it's kind of like the third place compared to Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport, right? But given that I can't really easily play either of those titles right now, I'll take what I can get, and Grid deserves more than just being a third place Andy. To talk about this game, Race Driver Grid itself, my impressions revisiting it for the first time in many years, I took a minute to get to grips with the handling because it's very quick, it's very floaty, like... the turning circles are a lot tighter than I feel like they should be, but what I like about this game is it's visceral, like, because it's so fast or fast feeling, like, impacts are super hard as well, and I don't know, it just feels like this is a meatier, crunchier, nastier game than any of the ones that came after, at least that I've played. And I actually really like that about it. I think it almost differentiates itself from other Simcade races more than its later sequels do. It feels more unique, it looks more unique, although it does have that mid to late 2000s beige filter that gaming was so obsessed with. Not a filter, but you know what I mean. Art style, art direction, colour palette. Although even that is quite rare for a racing game, no matter the era, and I think it does lend itself to Grid's unique style. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. My main takeaway from Grid's visual style is just that the track's really wide and the cars are quite small, especially when we get to the open wheel racing event later. it makes overtaking far too easily, and of course because this is an older racing game as well, as far as I could tell there were no real punishments for going outside the lines. Maybe I didn't technically go outside them, I wasn't paying super close attention, but yeah. Also, Grid is the Simcade series known for having AI which will make mistakes and spin out just like that one there. I think it's quite apparent with the very first game in the series how manufactured that is. It feels a bit more natural in later games, but it always feels a little stilted when it does happen. Still, I appreciate the effort. Also, while we're talking positives, I've got to say, Race Driver Grid still has the coolest, most chill vibes in the main menus. Like, the soundtrack for the main menus is so nice, and I really just like how they're all presented. They're so blocky and chunky, and it's just... I don't know why I'm so fond for the user interface of this game, but I am. I think maybe that's nostalgia talking. I've only got like 5 hours playtime on this on Steam, and I don't think I owned any console versions of this game, so it's interesting to know that I have such little game time in this game, and yet because I played it so many years ago, and because I play it rarely enough, I've got like nostalgia goggles for this game. But yeah, Race Driver Grid. I wish... So, here's the thing, right? I wish you could still buy this game. This is the problem with racing games because of the various deals in terms of branding and songs used and stuff like that in racing games. They get pulled from sale more than any other game type. And so there is no way to legally obtain this game now. So, I would argue it's free reign. Go get it however you can, obviously at your own discretion. Just be careful about where you get it from. I don't have any recommendations for you because I've not really done that kind of thing in a very long time, but even then it's sad because you can't, play the official Steam integrated version and stuff, right? But if you do get a chance to play this game, if it's been sitting unplayed in your Steam library or in your, PS3 games collection for years, give it a go because it is still really fun, and its kind of outdated physics make it feel more unique as a Simcade racer than modern racing games, if that makes sense. And honestly, this might just be where my mood is at right now. I'm definitely swung back into my racing games fixation phase that I go through every so often, but I really want to keep an eye on what's currently available on Steam, because when I was searching for a Forza Motorsport replacement, I heard that Project Cars 2 might fit the bill. It's a beloved game. I don't know if it was strictly Simcade. It might have leaned more towards the hard sim side of things. But from everything I was reading, it looked like I would like Project Cars 2. But it's been pulled from sale, and the sequel game, which wasn't even on sale on Steam, it was still a full 50 quid during the Steam sales, isn't well regarded and is lauded as being... not a faithful successor. It doesn't feel like it belongs in the Project Cars series, so it's not really recommended, and that's such a shame. I've said this before with old Forza Horizon games, I want to be able to play Forza Horizon 1 and 2. I was barely able to grab hold of Forza Horizon 3 via a key reseller because it had been taken from sale by the time I got into the series. I used to be coy about that fact, but I really don't care. There was literally no other way for me to get this game. If you are going to digitize your gaming consoles and all that stuff, then yeah, I do not feel guilty for going for a key reseller when something gets pulled from your digital storefront. Stop killing games. But yeah, I really want to keep more of an eye on racing games in the gaming space at the minute, because I feel like it's so temporary what games are available to buy. I mean, obviously they probably exist for at least 5 years on sale. It's not that quickly, they're here and then they're gone. It's not that crazy. But like, in terms of just long term, of me going, oh yeah, what was that game about? I saw that game around, and then I look it up and it doesn't exist anymore because it got pulled for licensing reasons. Every time with racing games nowadays, it drives me up the damn wall. And I remember The Crew 2 went on sale for like £1 a year or two ago, and I ended up picking it up on Steam alongside the Crew Motorfest when it was that cheap, and I thought, that was kind of silly. Like, I already own it on not just Xbox but PS4. Why did I do that? But now I'm sat here like, I'm glad I own a Steam copy of The Crew 2 because I'm not playing my PS4. I'm moving away from Xbox as kind of an ecosystem, and I've got a Steam version of the game that might not exist forever, so yeah, for £1. I'm not going to start FOMO buying up all the racing games on the market, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely, yeah, just something that's on my mind at the minute. I think publishers should definitely work on doing better licensing deals to have their racing games available for purchase for longer, or repackage them as a bundle deal with a new licensing thing. I don't know how publishing works, but surely you could work something out and continue making money. You love doing that, don't you? Because otherwise, like I said, we're just going to have to get it where we get it, and that cuts you out, Mr. Publisher, who's definitely watching this video. In short, re-release Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2. Thank you for listening. Oh dear, it's getting a bit ranty. Grid Legends! So, Grid Legends is a great game. It's a very iterative sequel upon Grid 2019. It feels like they just took the base game of Grid 2019 and continued to work on it, but it's got a fully fledged story mode with live action cutscenes and stuff, and it's not the best story in the world, it's not the most story content in a game, but also it's not cringe, and for a racing game story, that's like a 10 out of 10. I have played through a decent chunk of Grid 2019's campaign mode, and let me tell you, that game is drier than a bag of ready salted crisps left in the sun in the Sahara Desert. It is just menu into race, into menu, into race, into menu, into race, which would not be so bad, except there's also no, like, garage building or car upgrading. It's just you get what you're given and you go and race with it. And while that's still kind of a thing in Grid Legends story mode, there is also a traditional campaign mode, except in that mode, or I guess I should say career mode for racing games. Oh, it's funny how we choose different words for different things. In that mode, it looks like there is still a progression of building a garage, because you unlock certain vehicles for completing certain events, you can upgrade your vehicles, you can buy new vehicles. So that's that. I believe this game had a career mode where you started out with loaned cars and then you started your own team and bought your own vehicles and stuff, right? Is that a truth hiding somewhere in the back of my decades-old grey matter? I like that in a game. The Simcade dream I've been chasing since I was a kid who didn't actually really like Simcade that much at the time is what my sister used to do, which is she would play Gran Turismo, I've told this story before, and she would buy up cars and she would make sure all the mileage on them was similar, so like she would always be driving her least driven car, and she would kind of like have personal attachments to each car, and like she would visually customize them as well as upgrading them and stuff like that, and I want that, and the closest I've had to that is Forza Motorsport's car level up system, which most actual genre enthusiasts hated with a passion. So that was for me and me alone, I'm sorry everyone else. But Microsoft have icked me out recently, so like I said, looking for alternatives. If you have a recommendation for a Simcade racing game which is available to purchase in our year 2025 that you think I might like, leave it in the comments down below and I'll look into it. Also, look how tiny these fucking cars are. It's ridiculous. I don't know if it's just the type of car it is. I'm not super knowledgeable on the different disciplines of racing, but this feels too small, right? They're so dinky. This was the only car available for the open wheel discipline in this game, which is interesting. I don't know if you can unlock more of them, but I had a pretty big selection of cars for the other modes in this racing mode, so I don't know. Oh my, look at the time. It's all been racing games, hasn't it? What else have I been doing? What else have I been playing this week? I'm not gonna lie, viewer. I've been farming the shit out of World of Warcraft mounts. They have a limited time event up right now called the Collector's Bounty, which boosts the drop rate of rare mounts and transmog within World of Warcraft old raids, which if you don't play World of Warcraft is a part of the game that people like me engage with. 25-man raid when it's current? Ew, no. Difficult, socially anxious. 25-man raid 5 years after the fact? Delicious, soloable. Put a podcast on, go collect for fun appearances. Pretend I'm going to wear the outfits or the mount ever. Some people prefer number go up, some people prefer wardrobe get bigger. Turns out I'm the latter. In terms of gameplay this week, like I mentioned, it really has just been me searching for a replacement for Forza Motorsport, which I wasn't even really playing at the time when I went looking for it. And in the course of doing so, like you saw last week, I was playing Trackmania 2. I also just ended up getting into regular old modern Trackmania, playing it on PC for the first time, and I also tried out Grid Autosport, which I guess spoilers for 2 weeks from now, still holds up. But yeah, can't say I've made any progress in any story-based games that I've been playing recently, like Octopath or Honkai. In fact, I might kind of be bored of Honkai. I think as it turned into an auto battler and I realized I should just be auto battling through a bunch of fights, my engagement with the gameplay naturally went down, and the story alone isn't quite enough to carry me. I don't know, I might play a bit more and then turn a page and go, oh wow, I'm super invested in the story again. But I think the sparks fizzled out, if I'm being honest, which is a shame because I think Reese was expressing interest in getting into the game. So Reese, if you're watching this, I'm sorry to do this to you again, but I might be out of Honkai. But I do intend to get back on Octopath and then maybe back on Final Fantasy IV as well before I steer too far away from it, because I want to play Final Fantasy IV and I want to stay ahead of the Grinding Gear duo who are playing through all the games. I did also pick up indie title Dread Delusion in the Steam sale. I dipped my toe into it, saw the tutorial and went, I need to put this aside until I dedicate a more solid chunk of my attention to it, or it's just gonna get dusty. Love the aesthetic of that game though, really excited to check it out a little more. But yeah, beyond that, this week's episode's been a little one note, I guess. Apologies? Question mark? I don't know if anyone's even viewing these anymore, so shrug. I'm kind of back to just making these for me. Oh, I did also re-download the Crew Motorfest, and I kind of booted it up and drove down a road and went, I don't know if I want an open world racing game right now though. Put that in the activity log. As for my itchy feet, should we have a section in the weekly waypoint dedicated to my itchy feet? Where am I looking to go next? What's on the horizon? I've been away from ESO for a lot longer than I normally am, and I've realised I might have to migrate back to PC because I would need Xbox Game Pass in order to be able to play Elder Scrolls Online over on my main account now, which sucks ass. Hate that for me. However, I did originally play on PC and I'm curious to log back into that account and kind of like take stock of what was going on there. That would require, though, both a big download, which I don't have the disk space for, and also a fairly steep investment to get up to date on the DLC on the PC version. So, probably not going to happen, but it's on my mind. I also kind of want to play Guild Wars 2 again, but again with the install size thing, I've got Final Fantasy XIV and WoW downloaded right now, and I don't really want to get rid of either one, so shrug. Maybe this will end up in me checking a smaller file size old MMO for kicks. Maybe Dungeons and Dragons Online, maybe Lord of the Rings Online, I don't know. I'm sure next week I will have plenty to say about my adventures and choices. Join me, won't you? Remember to like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. I'm definitely not saying this ironically. Catch you next time.